What is up, gamers? Welcome to Think Tank Gaming, and on today's video we're going to be talking about recording in VR, specifically for Bonelab today. But really, most of the principles here can be applied to pretty much any game that you're going to play in VR, just with tweaking a few of the settings here and there. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, in full transparency, this is the second time I am recording this video. So you know, in all honesty, the first one did not turn out. It was a janky mess of no frames per second. And the issue was, and this is going to be your primary thing, is what hardware are you running? You know, are you trying to play VR and record VR on the same system? If that's the case, you're probably going to need to run it in performance. So to start with, I'll just kind of show you some of the settings we have here. So in preferences, you can go to graphics. I put mine on performance. You can even do a custom low settings, whatever you want to do, but it still looks really good. I feel like the quality isn't really missing anything. This is on PC VR, and we're using OBS to record. So we're going to show you the OBS settings, but I wanted to just state that performance mode has worked for me so far. When I tried to record this the first time, I thought maybe I can record in Ultra and then switch to performance and show the difference, but it was a glitchy nightmare in Ultra. I'm running a i9 9900X with an RTX 2080. So that's about what I can get out of this. I got to run performance mode to record this if I want to do it all on the same device. Ideally, you'd have a separate PC that you could record from, but if you're like me and you're using older hardware and you don't really have the money to build two computers, one for recording and one for playing VR content, you know, you can still record on one device. It's totally possible, and I think it still looks great. You know, there's really nothing wrong with this type of quality, and you can still have, you know, recordings of fun moments in VR. So let's take a little look at, you know, recording some action here. So let's get ourselves a gun. I think we're gonna need some ammo as well. And this wave spawner, if I remember correctly, it spawns them like real close to you. So I'm gonna go this. Boom, boom, whoa. Oh man, another one? It's real slow. Hey. Am I gonna die? I'm gonna die. Nope, I live. Haha. Whew! I hadn't seen those guys before. Those guys are tough. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that recording probably looked pretty good. Everything's moving smooth. I'm not missing any frames, so I'm not, you know, feeling like there's any sort of issues in the game. Now, something else I will say is when I was recording earlier, the game was acting funny. It was still playable, but I could tell there was something off, and that was the part when OBS was just recording a glitchy nightmare. So that can oftentimes be a sign. I'm actually going to check right now on my OBS. It is not overloading the encoders. That was a warning message I saw when I actually looked at the recording. It was overloading the encoders. So yeah, just be aware of that. It has its limitations, and the more that you spawn in a map, the more items that you put in a map, you know, obviously the quicker that's going to start to degrade your experience and your ability to record. So, you know, it's a smaller map. I don't have anything spawned in, but if I was to start spawning in some Fords, what does this spawn? Let's see here. Start spawning in some beings here, some Fords. Obviously, the more of these I put in, the more of a taxing load it's gonna put on the system. But honestly, I think that part of the video recorded. So I'm gonna show you parts of it. I'll show you, you know, the janky mess that it was, so you can see that. And actually, let's just show that right here. Here's a janky mess of a video. It's gonna look like a still image. And then, you know, here it is running normally, as it should when you start out properly. Hello! What up, son? By the fire. But yeah, see, I mean, we're doing pretty good with a good number of boards in here. Performance mode seems to be handling it pretty well. Check OBS. OBS is looking good too. No issues so far. So just be aware of that. Alright, so here we are back at the computer, and we're going to show you the OBS settings that you'll need in order to record your VR gameplay specifically for Bonelab in this example. So This is actually the second time recording this part as well, because when showing the piece about setting this up, I switched inputs. So this is a little side note for anybody recording OBS on a screen. Make sure that you don't switch to another one of your scenes, because that will change what is showing on the screen. So when I changed to my Bonelab scene, I didn't have a display capture. Now I do. So first step you're going to want to do is create a new scene. So here we've added Bonelab. You can just hit the plus icon, type in whatever you want for your scene. We're going to cancel that. We've already got our Bonelab scene. All right. So then we need to get a source. Right now we just have display capture. That's just to show you what I see on this screen right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a scene here. And that scene is, we're going to add a source. Sorry, we're going to add a source. And that source is going to be game capture. And we're going to just go ahead and call that Bonelab gameplay. All right, so we've got Bonelab gameplay as our source now. Let's go ahead and expand this. And we'll get into the specific settings here in just a second, but really when you're setting up this source, you want to go ahead and switch from a full screen application to capture a specific window. And then you're going to be able to choose your specific window that you would like to capture. Now, there should be an exe Bonelab option here, so you'll look for the one that says Bonelab. If you have Melon Loader installed for mods and everything, you'll probably see a Melon Loader version of the executable for Bonelab. And the first time that I had issues, I did choose the Melon Loader executable. So it might be best to make sure you choose the executable that says Bonelab specifically, and you'll be able to see that it shows up on the screen here. So we're not going to have an example because Bonelab's not running at the moment, but you can confirm that it is capturing Bonelab because you'll see it pop up here in the preview window. So we're just going to go ahead and choose, we're actually not going to choose anything at the moment. We're just going to cancel this, but you would have chosen it. And actually going back, one other thing to mention about this, if we go back to our properties, so just do a right click, properties, remove capture cursor. You'll probably notice some people's videos online have shown them playing Bonelab and you see a mouse cursor on the screen. And that happens when you have capture mouse cursor on. And I've had it happen with some of my videos as well that I haven't used yet or anything like that. So remove capture cursor. It's going to save you the hassle and the headache of seeing that and wishing you had recorded an entire session without it in the first place. So everything else can stay the same, however you like it there, just keep it the way it is. Again, not any full screen, capture specific window, hit OK, and there we go. All right, so we're looking at, we're going to keep it invisible, but you'll keep that visible. We just want to make sure our display is there. Now your audio settings, whatever you have for your audio, that's how you set that up. That's a whole different thing. You know, you've got your desktop audio, that's the main thing for the game, and then whatever microphone setup and other audio tracks you need, you have them here. So what we're going to look at though is the video settings. So we're going to go into settings and we're going to look at video output and video in particular. So if we go to output, we don't care about streaming. We're not talking about streaming. It's a whole different thing right there, but recording. So you have your recording path. That's fine. I like to do the format of MP4. That's been working for me so far. My encoder is an NVIDIA H.264. That's been working great as well. Originally, I tried recording some audio, video from my VR gameplay in a rescale output, and I don't think it looked good because a lot of times when you upload, it's going to compress your video even further. So you end up going with degrading your video quality and then uploading and continuing to degrade that video quality. So my recommendation is record in the highest resolution that you can in your gameplay. So we're just going to take straight whatever it is on my screen. I've got a 2K monitor, so with that 2K monitor, it's going to record, you know, the 2K that it's pulling up on that monitor, and I am not rescaling that down to 1080 or anything like that. I want to have the best quality. It's going to give you a larger file size, but that's something that you can always delete later on once you've edited your video and exported it to whatever format you like. That should be in a smaller form factor and not take up as much space. If you have enough space, you know, obviously you can keep all the recordings raw if you decide to do so. Everything else really just keep the same. Rate control, CBR, 12,000 kilobits a second bit rate, max quality, profile high, psychovisual tuning. GPU I have at 0. I'm really looking to use the GPU for the VR game itself. So I think I'm relying really on the CPU. It is an i9 9900K. I think I said 9900X before, but it is a 9900K with an RTX 2080. So the GPU is a little bit older and really needs to be able to focus its performance on the game itself, and then we can rely on the CPU to do the capturing in the video through OBS. So that's really the settings. That's not much to it. And once you've got that done, you can hit start recording once you've loaded up your game. And once you've loaded it up once, it'll always remember which screen the executable was. So you don't have to always select this each time. You'll just be able to hit start recording, boot up your game, and go from there. I would recommend checking. You'll get a little alert down here at the bottom that will tell you that it's getting overloaded encoders, something to that effect, some sort of error message like that. So keep an eye out for it. If that's happening, you're gonna probably go back and watch a video and see that it is a glitchy stop motion mess, you know, of no frames coming in. So just be aware of that. But yeah, that's the OBS settings. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and sum it up now for how to record in VR using OBS, specifically for Bonelab, but should apply to really any other game that you're going to want to try and record your VR gameplay in. So get out there, start recording content, sharing it with the world as best you can. This is actually right after showing you the OBS settings, so these are the settings I just showed you in OBS running on my system. So you can see everything's pretty much working pretty well. We're able to run around. You know, we've got really nothing showing too much of an issue. It's recording very nicely for what we wanted to do. So get out there, start making some content, and posting it online, sharing it with the world. So thanks for watching. If you liked and found this information helpful, please like the video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We've got more ideas for videos coming out soon, so I want to keep the VR content coming out and see what we can do with this channel and get it to grow. So hope to see you next time. Talk to you later.